So, we are going to kick off the hour today talking about something I frankly don't want to talk about, but we need to talk about, and that is, of course, the massacre at the grade school in Newtown, Connecticut, where I'm positive you've heard a killer with an assault rifle murdered 20 children and 6 adults. The weapon used was a Bushmaster AR-15 assault rifle. It is the same type of weapon that was used at the Oregon Mall shooting a couple of weeks back. It was also the weapon that was used at the Aurora, Colorado Batman movie shooting a couple of months ago. You can get the Bushmaster AR-15 at your local Walmart. Walmart, by the way, is the biggest seller of firearms and ammunition in the United States of America. Let's talk a couple of gun stats here. The Washington Post reports that American citizens own the most guns in the world at over 270 million. Actually, another stat I saw just a moment ago has it at close to 300 million. We also have the highest per capita rate of gun ownership of any country by far. We have more than double the country that comes in second for per capita rate of gun ownership. The country that comes in second is actually Yemen. So, in your face, Yemen, we got twice as many guns per capita that you do. The group Occupy the NRA posted a stat that the United States has 5% of the world's population and half of the firearms worldwide. Of the 23 richest countries in the world, we have 80% of the gun deaths. And we've kind of talked about some of these statistics before when the last shooting happened. It looks like there is a chance that we might be about to have a conversation about having some common sense gun laws here in the United States. It looks like there is a possibility. Dianne Feinstein, who again is no great progressive, but she has actually said that she plans to introduce a new assault weapons ban in the Senate. The previous ban, of course, expired in 2004. There's also talk of a ban on high-capacity ammunition clips. Of course, I don't know who dubbed them this, but I think it's absolutely great. The gun fetishists are saying that now, of course, is not the time to talk about common sense gun laws. Now is not the time to talk about this. Now is not the time. We can't talk about this now. We can't talk about this now in light of the tragedy. We couldn't talk about it after the Oregon Mall shooting. We couldn't talk about it after Aurora. We can never talk about it. We can never, ever talk about it, except it seems that maybe we can now. It seems that actually might be taking place. The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution reads, which I'm sure you've heard it before. The Second Amendment reads, quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." The beginning of that, of course, is well-regulated. Right there. Well-regulated. We actually do have the right as a society to place limits or regulations on the actual types of arms. We do not allow any random citizen to own a grenade launcher or a missile launcher or a nuclear bomb or a chemical bomb. We can and do set limits. We can and do regulate. The thing is, we're not doing a good enough job of it right now. We can ban assault weapons. We can ban high-capacity ammunition clips. We can ban sales of weapons at gun shows without background checks. There is a lot that we can actually do. What's more important? What's more important, the right to own a semi-automatic assault weapon that didn't exist at the time of the Founding Fathers, that didn't exist at the founding of the country? Or what's more important, that, the right to own that assault weapon, or the right of those children to be alive? John Cole, who writes the blog Balloon Juice, served in the army in Kuwait. He wrote a very good point, and I want to read his words describing guard duty in Kuwait, because I actually think this is very important, and it's actually something that we don't hear very often. Cole writes of his time serving in Kuwait. He writes, quote, "We had towers and gates and 12-foot walls, and armed troopers at every gate with mirrors to look underneath cars, and plenty of folks to investigate people coming in as civilians to run base operations. So why am I telling you this? Because in the middle of one of the most dangerous regions in the world, even with clear rules of engagement, every time I went on gate duty, there was a piece of tape over my ammo clip on my M16 and my M1911 45. Why? Because the most heavily armed military in the world did not want accidental shootings. If a situation arose, I would have to eject my ammo clip, remove the tape, and reinsert and work the action before I could fire. This was in a combat zone, yet I have spent the last 2 effing days dealing with armchair commandos telling me they need unlimited firepower to be safe in Connecticut." End quote. I can't say it any better than that. I can't say it any better than that. Are you saying that the military has it wrong? The military, the military, that's wrong? The fact that they control ammunition? Marcos Smolitsas, the founder of Daily Kos, who was also in the army, tells a similar story of how ammunition was always under strict control because guns are in fact designed to kill. They are designed to kill, and we can regulate. And for those like the NRA, who say we can't politicize this, we can't politicize this tragedy, or the tragedy before, or the tragedy before, or the tragedy before, those who say that, people, don't buy it. Don't buy it. They are the ones who politicized it in the first damn place. They're the ones who politicized it in the first damn place. John Nichols at The Nation reports on how the NRA, along with ALEC is, of course, the group that writes all the right-wing model legislation on a state level and has it inserted everywhere, how the ALEC actually has several gun bills and resolutions all around the country. Nichols reports on one, which is a resolution on semi-automatic firearms that expresses opposition to proposals by local, state, and federal governments to restrict the sale of semi-automatic weapons known as assault weapons. Number 2, they also have a bill called a Defense of Free Market and Public Safety Resolution that discourages efforts by law enforcement agencies to use their purchasing power to buy police and policing weapons only from gun manufacturers that improve gun safety to protect children. Because why would we want police forces to use their massive buying power, their buying of weapons for the police? Why would we want them to actually buy from responsible companies? Responsible companies that why would we want that? They also have one. Number 3, a unanimous 2011 endorsement by ALEC's, quote, Public Safety and Elections Task Force of a proposal to expressly bar cities from banning machine guns. There's, of course, the Stand Your Ground laws, which, who knows, still may get George Zimmerman off in the murder of Trayvon Martin. That's who we're dealing with, folks. Those are who we're dealing with. And don't pretend that that's not political. That is goddamn political. And people are dying because of their type of politics. It's political for them. It's political for groups like the NRA and ALEC because there is money to be made. The guns manufacturing industry is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. The NRA and groups like ALEC are making blood money passing this legislation, ladies and gentlemen. So, the question we asked after these shootings that we ask all the time, can some common sense gun laws get passed now, right now that 20 children were murdered? And the answer appears to be maybe. The answer appears to be that there looks like there is some political will out there. Meet the Press apparently asked all of the 31 pro-gun senators to appear on the show this last weekend, and every single solitary one declined. That's telling, folks. They would not have done that if there wasn't a serious sea change occurring in the conversation. However, while I think there is a legitimate possibility of the assault weapons ban clearing the Senate, I still have serious reservations on whether it actually can get through the House of Representatives. I do not think Republicans in the House will vote for it because, primarily, I don't necessarily see Democrats making them vote for it by putting political pressure on them necessary to get them to betray the NRA and the billion-dollar gun manufacturers. I don't necessarily see that. I will, a big question. Will President Barack Obama actually take the lead on this now? Take the lead on actually getting, common sense gun laws passed? Possibly. I mean, you watch the speeches he's given, and you think maybe, but for all of Obama, every single solid thing Obama does now, I'll believe it when I see it. I will believe it when I actually see him actually pushing actual legislation and not just saying speeches and not just saying words. But here's my main point. While it is true that we can't stop every instance of something like this from happening again, while we can't stop every instance, don't let them make you think that absolutely nothing can be done. Things can be done. Lots of things can be done. We can ban assault weapons. We can ban giant round ammunition clips. We can close gun show loopholes. We can fund mental health in the United States of America. We can fund mental health to help us identify and treat and stop the next maniac before they do it again. We can do that. Will it stop all of the murderers? Of course it won't. But if it stopped one, I think it'd be worth it. We'll be right back.